Hey guys, so for today's video I am going to be doing a full face of ABH Anastasia Beverly Hills / Norvina featuring the July takeover box with Norvina and Boxycharm. So yeah, so I'll be using these items in addition to some of the other ABH items I have in my collection. But I thought I would first run through what I received in the box and then incorporate the other items as we go on. But anyway, I have variation, I think my variation is 240-PM. Does PM mean premium? It might be variation 240 if this is year 21, month 07. I don't know. I'll put it down below if you're curious. But anyway, I'll show you the items that I selected first. The first one is the powder bronzer in the shade Rosewood. So this retails for $28, and they say it is a finely milled powder that provides a natural looking matte finish with buildable coverage. The powder bronzer feels weightless on the face and body and blends seamlessly to add warmth for a sun-kissed look. And they did have several different options available. I chose, I think, the lightest one. And if you haven't seen this component before, try and get all my fingerprints off of it, it has a very cool effect where you're going to see your reflection. There's kind of an ABH underneath, there you go. There's an ABH underneath the surface. So I really like that design. I think it's really cool. And then there's a little push button here, and then you open it. You have a mirror that says Anastasia at the bottom, and then a little protector, and then this is the shade Rosewood. And it does kind of lay flat if you are curious. So we'll be using that. And then the other item I chose is the most expensive item in the box. This is the Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 1. This has a retail value of $60, and I just wanted to show you how it was packaged. It comes in this kind of outer cardboard box. And then opening that, it has kind of this interior like corrugated type wrapping, and then there's the actual unit carton with all the information, and then opening that, there is like an interior like cardboard packaging as well, and then finally it's like the Russian nesting doll sort of thing, and then finally we get to the palette itself. So I decided to go for this one because first of all, Norvina is very much associated with, I think, the color purple, as you can see from the box and even the packing material and this as well. So I figured it would be most appropriate to go with like the more purple palette. So in addition to this, they also had volume 3 as an option, which I think is like kind of orange, green, brown, that kind of color story. So I decided to go for the full-on purple look. Has a very nice big mirror on the inside there, and it does stand up. This is not a new palette by any means, but I haven't had one of these Norvina palettes before. So when I first took it out, I was initially impressed by all the packaging, and then the weight of this is quite hefty. It almost feels like you could use it as like a defense mechanism, like if you needed to kind of, you know, hit someone over the head with it. But anyway, yeah, all the shades are named with a letter and a number, kind of like battleship. So you have the A row at the top, 1 through 5, B, C, D, and E, 1 through 5 as well. I guess my only critique of this, it does have a magnet closure, which is nice. My only critique would be that if the pans were removable and you could put them into another palette, that might be nice, because these are on the larger side, and I think especially if you purchase multiple palettes in this line, you might want to kind of combine them into your own custom palette. So that would be my only critique. Like, they could do it how Natasha Denona did hers, for example. You can see all those little holes on the back where you can push the pans through. So that's my only critique so far, but I am excited to play with this. I don't usually veer into very colorful eye looks very often, so I'm going to kind of go for that full, like, fairy, sprite, fantasy look today, using very purple eyeshadows. Alright, so those were the two items I chose. Next up, we have the Lash Brag Volumizing Mascara. This is a full size, and this retails for $25. And I have used this before. I think I actually got the full size in an Ipsy Glam Bag Plus at the beginning of the year, but I think that mascara has been open for over 6 months at this point, so I should probably toss it and replace it with this one. So I do remember liking that mascara, and I'm happy to have another one. I guess we're kind of going from kind of most exciting to least exciting inadvertently here. So next up we have the false lashes, and I have not worn false lashes in over a year, I think, at this point. These are in the style Snazzy. So I think I'll attempt to apply these. Just by looking at them, they don't look like they're the type of lashes I've had kind of success with in the past, because they have that thicker black band at the top. But anyway, we'll give these a shot. I don't know if I've ever tried false lashes from Anastasia before. And those, by the way, retail for $12. Next up, we have a liquid lipstick in the shade Malt, and this has a $20 value. I know Anastasia is one of the kind of original liquid lipstick formulas that came on the market. I think both tastes and formulas have kind of evolved since then, so I will be trying a liquid lipstick in my look today, but I won't be using this one because I don't think it's going to really fit with the look I'm going for. This is just kind of a straight up chocolate brown, and I don't want to swatch it or use it because I might pass it along. So anyway, that is the shade Malt. And then finally, I feel like this was kind of a fail on Boxycharm's part. This is the Anastasia Brow Definer. It's the triangular brow pencil. So they have their Brow Wiz, which is their kind of just normal brow pencil that I think they're most famous for. And then they came out with this Brow Definer, which is a little bit thicker, more of a triangle shape. This is in the shade Medium Brown, and I don't think that's going to work for me, so I'm just not going to use it, full stop. I did check my profile to see if I had kind of filled out any relevant information in terms of like hair color and everything, and I'm pretty sure that I have blonde hair on my profile, so I don't know if they had multiple shades in this, but it's just not really a product that will work for me. And that retails for $23, by the way. So I think the full value of my box is $158 if I'm doing the math correctly on the fly here. And this box costs $35 a month. So even just looking at the palette, the bronzer, and the mascara, I think I've more than got my money's worth. And like I said, I have tried the mascara before, and I know that I like that. And the bronzer looks very promising as well. So anyway, that is what I received. And I think I'm going to start with my eyes because I'm not sure if there's going to be fallout. One important thing to note here is that this is a pressed pigment palette, which means that the FDA has not approved all of the ingredients for use in the immediate eye area, so the eyelids. I think that's an area, like a lot of people have said, where the FDA is lagging behind other countries, or like the European equivalent of the FDA, because the product shouldn't cause any irritation or anything like that. They may just stain a little, but I will be using an eye primer and setting it and everything, so hopefully I won't run into that issue. So the shades that are not approved for the immediate eye area are, if I can do this upside down, let's see, A2, which is that purple color, which I might end up using. A3, which is also a purple color. A5, which is that bright pink. B1, which is another purple color. B3, which is that metallic shimmery pink, which is kind of surprising actually. B4 and B5, more purple colors. And then C4, which is that mauvey color. C5, which is a brown. And then, goodness, D2, D3, D4, D5, and then E1, E2, E4, and E5. So that is a total of 17 shades, and this is a 25 shade palette, so that's over half by a long shot. The reason I think they have to say that is because they used a synthetic red pigment instead of carmine, which is a an animal derived product, and so they used the synthetic to keep it vegan. Yeah, it is vegan, also cruelty free, but that particular ingredient is not approved. So they have the eyeshadows and then the pressed pigments in their ingredients, and they use ingredients in the pressed pigments such as Red 7 Lake, Red 40 Lake. So that's why a lot of those like purple and browny tones that might have some red pigment mixed in, those are classified as pressed pigments instead of eyeshadows. Okay, so I'm going to start with my eyes because I'm not sure if there will be any fallout, and I will be using some more vibrant shades. So I have the Anastasia eye primer, and I think this is the mini size. This is 7 ml or 0.24 fluid ounce. I've had this for a little while. Comes out as kind of a cream color, and I think I remember Samantha Ravindal really liking this. Probably squeezed out way too much on my hand, to be honest. It does a good job of like canceling out discoloration. Okay, so that is the eye with primer, and that is without. So it's not like a stark white or anything, but it definitely will help your eyeshadows or pressed pigments kind of give them a little bit of color boost. Okay, so I'm just going to reference the shade names. I think because they're kind of in a grid pattern, it should be fairly easy to figure out which shade I'm referring to. And I'll insert a picture so you can kind of see which shade I'm referring to. But I'm gonna go in with C1, which is a matte white, and just kind of lay down a base. The shade feels really smooth on the lid, which I feel is kind of a weird thing to say about applying a matte shade with a brush, but anyway. I think I'm gonna start with B1 right above it, which looks like it's a matte magenta type shade, and I'm just going to apply that in the crease. Okay, and then I'm going to go into A2, which is more of that violet matte, and focus that on the outer part of the crease, kind of creating a bit of a V shape here. So far I'm not seeing any sort of fallout, so maybe my precaution was unnecessary. So next up I'm going into A3, which is right next to A2. And just building up some intensity. Okay, so next up I'm going in with my Jikuhodo GSN9 into B3, which is that like sparkly kind of, I don't know, rosy pink, and see how this applies. I think this may require some setting spray. I'm just going to turn the brush over and go into A1. Oops, looks like I got some. So I think I want those metallic shades to pop a bit more, so I'm going to take the Tarte Maracuja Miracle Mist and see if I can kind of build up that metallic color a little bit more. I still feel like I'm not getting quite the pop I want. All right, so I think that's as far as the brush is going to take it. So I'm gonna use my finger here, going back into that B3 shade. I don't have the larger Natasha Denona Biba palette, so if anyone has both this palette and the Natasha Denona, I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are. So I think Anastasia might make liners, but I don't have any, so I'm going to take the Sigma E65 little angled brush and go into A3 and load that up and see how this does as a liner. Might try wetting this as well. So to be honest, using eyeshadow or pressed pigments, whatever you want to call them, as a liner is not my favorite technique, but it'll do in a pinch. I feel like doing winged liner with powder shadow is becoming a bit of a trend recently. I'd say it's certainly a little bit more forgiving, so if you are a little scared about winged liner and you want to try kind of the most forgiving method, I would say start with the powder, and then you can move on to gel liner. You can also use a piece of tape to kind of get the right angle and then take that off once you're done. And if you don't like how that's looking, you can always just take a brush and blend it out. Okay, so I think that's where I'm going to leave the eyes. I'm just going to take my makeup wipe. I'm hoping this doesn't make my eyes look red or sick or anything like that. Certainly an interesting look. Okay, so I don't think Anastasia makes a face primer, so I'm just going to use the Glossier Future Dew. And I'm also going to apply the Wander Lip Retreat Oil in preparation for liquid lipstick. Okay, so I do have the Anastasia foundation. So this, I think, is their only foundation. This is the Luminous Foundation. I have the shade 130N. I know this has been out for a while, and I tried this a while ago, but I don't really remember what I thought of it. It didn't become kind of a go-to, so I must not have loved it. It is a little bit on the thicker side, but it is still running down my hand, as you can see. Then using my trusty beauty blender. I think the only Anastasia brush I have is their like highlight brush. Oh, I forgot to do my corrector. This is what happens when you do one thing out of order, like your eyes. So far so good. I mean, I don't know when this foundation launched, if maybe this shade was too dark for me. Right now it's, you know, beginning of August, so I'm as dark as I'm probably likely to get, and that's not even that dark. They do make a few shades lighter than this. I think this actually came out when Sephora was still doing their like color IQ system, which I've done a lot of videos on. So I think 130N was the color IQ number 1R03. So I have a whole like playlist of videos that aren't as useful as they once were, unfortunately, but I think that's kind of how I landed on that shade. So using the Charlotte Tilbury corrector, which almost works kind of on its own with this foundation shade. I think this is a nice level of coverage for filming. I don't know if I just never really use it a lot because, you know, it might be a little heavy for day to day. I really have no idea. I think I'm also going to use some of this Lancome Teint Idole concealer in the shade 90N. So I don't have the loose powder from Anastasia, but I did dig up, resurrect if you will, the contour kit. Do y'all remember this? This came out a long time ago. I even like took, I think, a piece of the box that had the shade names on it and like glued it to the actual lid. But anyway, there's the shade Vanilla, I think, is probably going to be the best like setting powder for me. So I don't think this concealer really needs to be set, but I'm just going to kind of go in there. And I think everything else I'm going to be using is a powder, so I'm just going to kind of set my face. Okay, so I think, as most people know, Anastasia is most famous for their brow products. That's kind of how they got their start. So the clear brow gel is something I've used for over 10 years, I think, off and on at this point. So that's a great clear brow gel if you just want to set your brow hairs. I do have like a decent amount of brow hairs, I think. Like, that's just my natural brow. So I usually just go for a tinted brow gel because I don't really need to fill anything in. So I do have the Brow Wiz in Taupe, which is, like I mentioned, they're kind of most famous, you know, brow pencil product. Lately what I've been using is the Dip Brow Gel. Also in Taupe, I believe, yeah. So I'm just gonna run that through my brows. So that is the brow with, and that is without. I think it just kind of darkens them a bit. I wouldn't say this is my current favorite or anything. I think I prefer the Kosas, but certainly not a bad one. And just quickly to show you, have the brow gel as well. So this is the tinted brow gel, and this is in the shade Blonde. I don't know why the naming is different. I haven't actually, I don't think, used this much. First of all, the wand is huge, and this has almost like a metallic kind of tint to it, which is odd. So you can see the lighter shade is the brow gel in Blonde, and the Dip Brow Gel in Taupe is the darker shade. And hopefully the sheen is coming across, which is odd. It kind of reminds me of, wasn't there a Becca product that was like that? It was meant to kind of highlight your brows. Actually, I might might go ahead and apply this because we are going for that kind of like, you know, mystical fairy type look. So that is the difference in the spoolies, which I think is fairly significant. Okay, so I think I'll try some of this brow gel on top just to kind of see what it does. I don't know if that looks any different really. This is not going to be a subtle makeup look, that's for sure. All right, so I think I'll go ahead and finish off the eye look. I'm gonna take my reference number 23 and go into the A2 shade. And I never used to apply shadow underneath my lower lash line, but I find that as I'm getting older, at the ripe age of 36, I find that, you know, with the fine lines and everything underneath the eyes, I find that putting shadow kind of helps prevent some additional creasing of the concealer, so kind of serves a dual purpose. And I'm just applying a little bit more of that A1 shade. All right, so another cop out, I'm going to use the Clinique Bottom Lash, just because it's easier, to be honest. This just has a very tiny little wand. All right, and then onto the mascara, I have the rougher lash curlers here. This is a very nice kind of weighted tube. It feels very substantial. Right off the bat, this feels like a very dry formula. I guess the first one I had was the same. I can't really recall. So that gives a very kind of separated, fluttery lash. It's a little harder to build up volume though. Okay, so I guess we'll leave it there if we're going to do false lashes. Like I said, I can't remember the last time I applied false lashes, so hopefully I still have lash glue that works. And I think I might also have to cut these. Maybe I can get away with this. All right, so I have the Duo Lash Adhesive with vitamins. Certainly a look, isn't it? All right, so lashes are on. Not sure how long they'll stay on, but there you go. Okay, so let's get some color onto the face. So I have the bronzer in Rosewood and my reference number 22 brush. I think this is currently in the concept store, if you are curious. I think this is supposed to be kind of a dupe of the Tom Ford bronzer brush, at least the old version of the Tom Ford bronzer brush. I think the Refer brush is currently like half off in their concept store. So if you want it, oh gosh, well that's disappointing. So I just peeled off the sticker that was on the mirror and it left behind like all this residue, which is odd. I don't know that I've ever had a sticker do that before. Usually it's just like a cling film type thing, so I guess I can kind of attack that with some Goo Gone or whatever, but it's annoying. Especially when it's on the inside of the product. I think this is a nice shade for me, going a little heavy. Okay, I'm going to go over the forehead where I got a little carried away using the banana powder from the contour kit. And then I think I want to use this shade, which I think is Java, underneath the chin, and then a little bit and then I'm going to take that same shade with this Spectrum B07 and just give the nose a little bit of a contour. Okay, so I also have the blush trio in the shade Pool Party. And I think this has the same type of packaging as the bronzer with that kind of, I don't know, embedded ABH logo. Same push button to open it, and then I'm curious. So this just came right off, like so. I really don't get it. But anyway, this has 3 blush shades. The one in the middle is very sparkly, which I'm kind of gravitating towards. This one is almost a contour shade, and then we have a peachy shade. Feels very silky. And I just got this in the one of the FabFitFun sales, by the way. So very smooth. So yeah, so I got this at like a discount because it was a, you know, flash sale subscription box type thing. So I don't know why this one, the mirror cover came off fine and the other one had some issues. All right, so using my Refer number 5 brush in that middle pink shade. Yeah, we're definitely getting some sparkle on the cheek. I don't know if you can see that. Which would not be my kind of normal preference, but I can't use it now. When will I use it? So going into the glow kits, I have 2. I have Moonchild and Aurora, and I'm actually a little surprised that they still sell these. I feel like they've been out for a minute. So that's the shade Luna from the Aurora glow kit. Spectra is kind of pretty. That's a little bit more subtle than I thought it would be. That's the like purple one. Okay. I'm just swatching to kind of figure out which shade I want to use. I don't think I want to go too like blue or green. I think I might use Pink Heart from the Moonchild. So Pink Heart has a really pretty, almost like pink peach kind of duochrome look to it. And of course, I'm going to use my Anastasia A23 brush, which is my go-to highlighter brush anyway. Just kind of blending that over the cheekbone a little bit. I think these are really pretty. I almost wish I had incorporated them into the eye look, but I don't want to look at those lashes wrong because I'm worried that they'll pop off. Okay, so I think that's it aside from lips. Most of that lip oil has worn off. So like I said, I don't want to use the liquid lipstick that they sent me because I just don't think it would go with this. So I have a mini of the Crush liquid lipstick. I'm not positive that they still sell this, but if they do, I'll link it. I think that's a much better color. And over top of that, just to kind of add a little bit more iridescence, I'm going to add the Anastasia Moon Jelly Lip Gloss. And I'm just going to kind of dab some on the back of my hand here so I don't kind of contaminate the wand. You can see hopefully the color. Alright, so that is the finished look. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what I've created using my July Premium Boxycharm. That's what I'm doing. For some reason, I think I've kind of like made myself into a character in True Blood. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but anyway, that's the vibe I'm giving myself. So that was my premium box, and I thought I would quickly show you what I got in my normal, regular Boxycharm. I didn't want to do a full like face with this necessarily because I didn't think it was all that exciting, to be honest. But anyway, I have the variation 39-BA, if I'm reading the tea leaves correctly. So this is a, I think, $25 a month subscription, and you can pick one item. So I selected the Illamasqua Unveiled Artistry Palette. This is supposed to have a retail value of $50. I don't think I would have spent $50 on this, but it just has kind of some, you know, neutral, muted colors. So we'll see kind of how this does. So I have tried Illamasqua products in the past, but I haven't tried their eyeshadow formula recently. So anyway, that was the item I selected, and I think that's the only item I'm kind of interested in, to be honest. We have this 4-piece makeup blending sponge set from M2U NYC. This is supposed to have a $20 value, so roughly $5 a sponge. They're supposed to be super soft, latex free in a variety of shapes. I don't know, I might put these into a giveaway. I don't really see myself using those. We also have the Dermalite, which reminds me of Zoolander.
Let me show you. Derelict!
This is the Outcrease Retinol Trifecta Serum. This is 1 ounce, and this is supposed to have a $39 value, so nothing crazy when it comes to like skincare values. It contains 3 tremendously effective forms of retinol actives in a concentrated micro-encapsulated delivery system. Interesting. So little dropper bottle like that. I might get around to using this. I'm trying to be better about using retinol, so we'll see about that. And then the other 2 products, I have the Mud Masky Vitamin Infused Eye Serum. This is also 1 fluid ounce. This is supposed to retail for $63. It says the eye serum contains a blend of all natural vitamin C with a refreshing and powerful antioxidant effect. I'm not sure about this one because sometimes I find that vitamin C eye products can irritate my eyes. I'm a little prone to eczema, so we'll see about that. And then finally we have the Basic Beauty Summer Lip Oil, which is supposed to retail for $18. They say this is a Boxy exclusive, and it's a hydrating lip oil with coconut oil. And let's see what this looks like. Okay, so it looks like if it's not clear, then it's a very light pink. So, like I said, I wasn't too impressed with this month's base box. The premium box was a lot of fun, even though some of the products they sent aren't going to work out for me, but I had a lot of fun kind of delving into the ABH brand and creating a look that I wouldn't normally wear. So there's something to be said for just having fun and playing around with makeup. So I think that's going to do it for this video. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I am very close, well, not very close. I'm somewhat close to 2,000 subscribers, and my 10-year YouTube anniversary is coming up on August 19th. So I would very much appreciate it if you would subscribe if you haven't done so already. And I hope you guys are all staying very safe and healthy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye. I just realized they have butterflies on the bottom too. It's kind of fun.